time. All right, everybody. Hello. Happy Wednesday. And so, yes, I did say Wednesday for those of you who are Jazzy Conversations with Jazz fans. I know that it is a different day other than Monday. You guys know how I feel about Mondays, so I get it. I understand, all right? But it is Wednesday, and so I have a lovely guest that I'm going to introduce to you in just a second. But I wanted to go ahead and welcome you. This is episode 122. We are in season 15 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. And you know that in order to be a member of the Jazzy crew, it's very simple. All you have to do is follow me and subscribe on YouTube, IG, and Facebook. That's Jazzy, Jazzie, Conversations with Jazz. I am also on all podcast streaming platforms. And I need for you to make sure that you bring our numbers up with YouTube. You guys have been doing a fantastic job at doing that. So I do appreciate it. So keep it coming. I want to go ahead and just remind you of two important elections that are near and dear to my heart, near and dear to this show. And so first and foremost, I am going to tell you to make sure that you cast your vote on August 20th for both of these candidates. But up first is Miss D. Jones. D. Jones is running for County Court Judge, Group 21. So that's in Hillsborough County. So those of you who are in the Tampa area, I need for you to make sure that you are registered to vote. And I need for you to make sure that you cast your vote on August 20th. Okay? Also here in Polk County, we have our Polk County Public School Board seats that are available. And one of those seats that are available is seat 2. Seat 2 covers the Four Corners area. That's your Haines City area, your Lake Wells area, in the Four Corners area. You guys know all about it if you're from Polk County. Mr. MJ Wright is the right choice for us all. I want you to make sure that you cast your vote for him on August 20th as well. So listen, we are going to get right into this show. I was so excited when I learned that I was going to get the opportunity to interview her. She's a part of the D9 with me. Not my soul, you are still my soul. Well, I'll say, we are sisters in the D9. I love you so much for your service. And she has an impeccable resume, an impeccable track record in her field. So I'm just going to give you some stats about her. So for episode 129, she is definitely a Tampa native. She's a graduate of the University of South Florida. So go Bulls, right? I said that because I love it when you guys put up your bull symbol. So I was going to let you do that. She has a bachelor's in communications. So right along with her bachelor's in communications, she also was an athletic trainer while she attended USF with USF in Health South. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So with them, you organized and you prioritized and fundraised for several nonprofit 501c3 organizations. Mm-hmm. But she also got the opportunity to intern for WFTS TV, Channel 28, which is an ABC affiliate. And so with that, she has experience in the news sector as a news researcher, editing segments, producing, and also directing, which is near and dear to me because, as you guys know, I have a degree in broadcast journalism too. So when I saw those credentials, I was like, I cannot wait to have her on the show. What we're going to talk about is the work that she is currently doing with her PR firm. So Jackson is also the founder and CEO of KVJINC, which she was going to tell us more about right now. Did I leave any stone unturned?
No, I'm thinking that sounded really great.
It sounded really great.
Well, with KVJ, I started my company. We do public relations and event planning. Mm-hmm. I started in 99. And I was part-time, so I was working I was either subbing or doing temp work. Mm-hmm. And then around 2005, I went full-time. Okay. So I started with working with nonprofit organizations and then working with some athletes. And then I was blessed to meet a friend of mine, Angela. She was working with Nike Grassroots. Mm-hmm. And she let me come and intern on all her projects that she was doing in South Florida and in Jacksonville, because she had the Southeast. And so I would travel sometimes even to Atlanta to work on some projects. So it helped me to get out there and meet quite a few people.
Awesome.
And then I was able to go from there. I've worked in 3 Super Bowls. I worked in Tampa, Jacksonville, and Houston with the NFL Youth Clinic. And they've now been morphed into the NFL Experience. So that was under Nat Moore. He's a former Dolphin player. He played in, I believe it was the 70s or the 80s. He was back then.
Okay.
And he kept a nonprofit, but this is one of the things he wanted to make sure that young kids had access to these NFL players. He was like, you can't just come into the neighborhood, show them what it takes. And they set up skills centers, and these kids got to actually go up against and learn stuff. And so from there, I worked with Nike in the grassroots. Then I was able, Hawaiian Punch came along, and they did their Martin Luther King speech. And as a matter of fact, it was some kids from Lakeland that won. So we were between Hillsborough County and Polk County. That one day, they won an all-expense-paid trip for 4 to Walt Disney World.
That's awesome.
So from there, I started doing more nonprofits, but then I started getting into government work. And I worked on schools, I've worked on residential, commercial, parks. Like right now I'm working on in East Tampa, Fair Oaks Park, which has a $41 million budget in the Black neighborhood, which is very much needed because all of those parks need to be redone. So it's going to be a massive park and something that they will be so happy about. And so, it's just every year you're bringing in and networking and meeting with people. So I do community engagement. I do all those public forums where people show up and start screaming and yelling at each other. That's why I try to feed people. So hopefully they start
the way to go.
So they'll calm down a little bit.
Yes.
Even though some people still talk about you, which I really don't care. As long as I turn in the results and I get what you're saying. My job is to make sure you are heard, it's written down and given to you. We do media relations, we do research, we do charity research because some of our clients need to make sure that when they donate to that charity, that money is going where it's supposed to go. Because some people have gotten these odd, strange things that, if I start a nonprofit, it can pay my mortgage, it can pay my rent, my light bill. And I'm like, oh, you got to start justifying them. It's a lot of people that have been caught up by the IRS because they're using that money in a not so nice way.
And I always say when I hear about criminal activity, I'm like, I look good in orange because I'm a rattler, but not a jumpsuit orange. Like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So,
like, no ma'am.
No ma'am.
No ma'am. But yeah, so, you constantly do that. And I know especially when I work with my athletic clients, like, they would be working for a pro team, they would give me the part of their contract that pertains to me because I need to know how I'm interfacing with the team because some teams are not that welcoming. Especially not to people of color. Like, so it's a so I, the few athletes I was able, it was a blessing because it's not like it is now where you got people getting black agents and black people. Like this dude made a shirt that said Beyonce's PR person is black. That's a rarity. That's a rarity. And I mean that.
Why do you think so?
Well, I mean, it's just we came up in a generation where I had to drive a Toyota Camry, a '93 Camry, so that they wouldn't think they were paying me too much.
Gotcha.
Like the mentality of black folks then, especially in the athletic, like literally, I remember I went to a party at Mercedes-Benz. Someone invited me there. I didn't even have the invite. And this player's mom saw me there, and I just and her whole demeanor changed. And I'm like, if it wasn't for your son, you wouldn't even be on the outskirts of this place because you was like in dire poverty. And she went back to her son, was like, well, how much do you pay her?
Gotcha. Was it because of the car you drove?
Well, because she didn't think how could I be up in this? I'm on somebody else's invite. If she would have asked, and when he told me, I said someone else got the invite. I just came. He was like, well, first of all, I wasn't caring. But people are very funny at it. And I remember like me and some black agents, we all used to get to talk about how we have to downplay our life because they feel like, oh, I'm paying you too much money, but they don't question white folks about their fees.
And that's so tiring. It's tiring, especially when you have the expertise, the experience and the know-how. When you have all of that behind your belt and you still have to go through that.
I remember Hollywood Henderson told me, I remember I was working at a charity event in the Bahamas, and he was like, we were at the casino, and I was, go around checking on to make sure everybody was okay. He said, what do you do? And I'm telling him, we're just holding a camera, and I mean the nicest person. Anybody know football, they know him. He is a personality.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm searching for context. I'm like, who is this person?
He's like, he's an 80s dude, but he is a good dude. And he was, and people know he has them. He's like the clapback king. Now, he don't play with you. You come for him, he gonna meet you where you at, and you gonna be real mad when he finishes. Right. And he was like, I want you to understand one thing. If any player tells you that you need to work for them for free because you working for them gonna get, don't you ever. Yeah. I said, because there's no player that can give you the experience that you already have. Yeah. You tell them, well, what is that gonna do for my skill set? You don't have this. Right. So why would I work free? And he said, because white folks don't come to them talking about work for free. They pay them what they ask, and he said some of this stuff is astronomical. He said his accountant's taking 100,000 out of these guys' account every quarter. Yeah. Not every year, every quarter. That's $400,000 in a quarter. Yeah. And they don't question nothing. You've been at this, you said, since the 90s, and so you've had since 99, and so you've had corporate partnerships. You forged, your business with corporate sponsors or corporate corporations. Hollywood sounds like. How do you price? Like where is it? Because when you're in an industry that you deal with different types of clients who are at a higher level, where do you get the gusto to know what's your worth? Well, I've actually worked with other people, or I sit in conversations and listen. Yeah. Like I know at this year I'm $150 an hour. I know that's right. And I'm like, high five to that. I know that's right. And I'm not gonna take less, or if I'm doing a monthly flat fee, I'm not doing anything under a couple thousand. Yeah. Because I know my worth, and then two, if I lower it down, you're not gonna lower your expectation. Right. Because I've lost time. I said, this is my hourly rate. This is my flat fee to start. And people are like, well, I can't. I said, you're not gonna lower your workload. Yeah. But you're gonna want me to go at a lower price. And then you're going to want me to do a gang of dollars. And I tell people, I said, because I remember people would send stuff like other PR, because we have a little loose group, it's a minority PR society. People, I remember when your Soros called me she was in this county, and these folks was like, they had moved her office. She was the interim director, moved her to the MBE office, because the white folks in her office, they felt because she was black, she needed to go with the MBE. No, your office is here. Yeah. They didn't want her in there. And when they looked at the evaluations, one of them was like, well, how can she afford to have a Benz? I'm like, why are they even still employed? Right. And I told her, I said, I need to write a letter. No, some people don't want you to do it, so you got to respect them. Because I said, oh no, because I even had to check her when somebody from another agency, they hired a white girl to do her same PR and stuff. That girl called asking for contacts. I said, no, you give her general contacts, like the general phone number. I said, no, those contacts are your personal contacts that you curated. And you let that official know she's an elected official. And this is not only a conflict of interest, it's unethical. And you can find an ethics report on her. Like, people don't realize that. And that's why, and if some of us don't want to play the game, or they want to be over here. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, how is it? Oh, I have some PR people, they can't even darken my doorstep. Do tell, like, what is it that you see with it? Like, right after, I started that minority PR, I said you could barely get maybe one person or two people every month. And then when 07, 08 hit, when that crash came, and see, people used to pick at me because I was in multiple industries. They'd be calling me Kim, a jack of all trades. And white folks, they stay on you. Yeah. Because they specialize, like it was only real estate PR or government PR if you had one person who did that, or it was something that was specialized. Yeah. As soon as 08 came, and all you saw was companies being wiped out left and right. Then everybody wants to come to a meeting. And I just so happened, I was a member of Visit Tampa Bay, and the PR, nicest lady. And she said, well, if you just pay me this fee, I'll give you, back then, this is before software was out, I'll give you the PR list for Florida, which at that time was a couple $1,000s to get that list.
Wow. Okay.
Because I was a member, she was like, yeah. And it just so happened by the time I came, people were downsizing because she was the last one hired. And I was like, no, and they were like, yeah, we loved her too, but because of budget cuts, we had to let her go. And so they gave me the list for no charge.
Wow.
And so I offered it to all of my, look, I would love to make this a nonprofit if possible. So whatever donation you can give, nothing under 25. And I mean, I stepped it that low.
Wow.
And if you could give it, this is your pledge. And they were like, people were like, well, I said, this is all you get, that's all you can give.
Right.
And I gave you the list.
Yeah.
Well, one person, this guy, black male, he was like, well, I can give $100. I was like, okay, go ahead, ball out, son. And when it came time to collect the money, I emailed us like, hey, we need your money. Oh, I can't give it to you. I said, okay, that's straight number one. Because you using this list, I know who you got as clients right now.
Right.
And a friend of mine was saying he's very cutthroat. He will cut you at the kneecaps. Because, and so another time we were getting ready to do a bid, so I had put together a bunch of black people. Because if we don't give one another an opportunity to get into a bidding situation, people won't know how to do it. He was like, oh no, I'm all about green, my money being green. I said, we know, because you came over here to this organization and stole from us. Yeah. So I've already marked him off. And so when the bid came down, none of us won it, but we ranked kind of high because of what we had said and everything. And then when it was time, because he wanted to file a complaint low, I said, nah, son, we not over there. You got green. Right. You didn't want us on your team.
But what was he filing a complaint about?
Because he was trying to say it was racist that he wouldn't consider it in the time. I was like, no, son.
Okay.
Now you want to be black. But you was green.
She said, now you want to be black.
You was green a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And then time goes on. I have a client, and I hired another black female to do the website. So we working through the kinks. It's always stuff. He not only emails me, but CC the client's name on the email to complain about they were having trouble.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I would understand if you sent the email to me first, gave us a chance to do it. But when you CC'd my client, that let me know already what was happening. And him and that client got up there, and it was supposed to do something else with his actual company, and he just crossed me out. That's just how slimy people are.
Yeah.
And then I left him alone, and then as the years go by, it's so many black PR people have come to me about how he does things and how he does stuff to them. I said, had y'all said something up front, I would have told you. Yeah. Don't do it, because he will leave you out there. I had friends working for government agencies. They would go in there and start yelling racism, throwing their name in, and they're like, what? Why you throwing me in there? Oh, you don't even. Or friends that have said, well, I sent him clients. I said, he ain't sending you none. Yeah. And they're like, he's just good. I said, a lot of people are on debt. They know how to manage debt. Yeah. And I have to tell people, I scale my business. I have subcontractors, because most people that are in the creative space, they don't want to be in an office. Right. They want to be able to jump into a meeting here and there, come back and forth here and there, and they like their freedom. Yeah. They don't want that. I'm good. Yeah.
I was going to say, is that more your style?
Because I tell people those contracts only last a couple years if you're lucky, and you may get an additional. Yeah. So how are you going to keep that person on after that? You have to realize it's a juggling. And that's why I get so cutthroat with some people. And you just have to recognize, like, people are like, oh, well, you could be bigger. It's not about being bigger. It's about having integrity.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. It's not necessarily about being bigger, but it's about having integrity. Because a lot of people have heard you, just say, if it was a white person or dealing with black people, when I hear someone say that, my ear may not hear what everybody else or what some people may hear, and I say that because if you have a Hispanic company, they're going to make sure that they forge great relationships within their community to build one another up, because they're not on a level playing field to start in most realms. And I don't feel like I need to say that when I'm talking about African American or any other subgroup that's not of the majority race. And so I just want to just go ahead and say that portion. Why is it so important to you and the mission that you do to make sure that Black voices are heard, that Black companies are seen, nonprofit, etc.? Why is that important?
Well, because we're missing on so many scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It is just, I even saw this growing up. I stayed in these townhomes, and then they were starting to go, we purchased ours, but a lot of them were being bought up so that they could go rental. And I noticed when Hispanic folks took over that management office, they would have multiple families in these townhomes, which you're not supposed to in the rentals. And they would wait till another one comes up, and that family would move right on in.
Gotcha.
I mean, they stick together. Like, literally, I had a friend of mine, she was a realtor, Spanish lady, loved her. But her husband said, no, we got to go with a Spanish realtor.
Yeah.
And people don't realize, if we kept that Black folks, the money we spend, they said if Black people in America was a country, we'd be the 16th largest country on what we spend. Because it leaves our community. And like I tell people, gentrification, we can stop gentrification. But for some reason, I guess one of the elders I know, it's a neighborhood where they all have written it in that your kid can't sell it to just anybody. They have to approach the neighbors first to buy their home, to keep that neighborhood. Because I mean, this is a neighborhood on the river in a Black neighborhood. And they have that agreement amongst one another. And I was telling people, I was like, you talk about gentrification, but what do you have invested in your community? Have you bought something, and whether it be a home or whether it be a building, and fixed it up so that you make your neighborhood nice?
Right.
Because I say, I know people, I don't begrudge anybody for moving to the suburbs. Oh, they have nicer schools. If you get up and go to the school that's in your neighborhood, they have to listen to you. The reason why our neighborhood schools are failing, because the parents aren't going up there. Like, we had a whole redistricting thing in Hillsborough County, and I don't even have kids. But I showed up to one, me and another friend who does not have children either. And we saw, the only Black parents we saw that were teachers, principals, and APs, and people who work in schools. It was a handful of Black parents came out.
And what time was the meeting?
And the meeting was like about 6 or 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's after work. You could make it there. Unless you had a second job, we understand. Them white folks was organizing in each other's neighborhoods because they did not want their child coming over to a C or a D school, because they purposely bought this house in this school district so their children could. They had the kids lined up at school board meetings talking about, my mama paid. I'm like, how you know how much your mama paid for that? But they were there.
Because they were organized.
They were meeting within their homes. Having private meetings about and what happened? All the schools that were supposed to be shut down and everything, none of them are shut down. They came right into the Black neighborhood and shut those schools down. My sister was a principal one, and she had turned that school from an F school to a B school. A B school.
Listen, I know that story all too well, and I know that when people get wind of us organizing, it becomes detrimental to some people if they are in some facets of a career, as I'm told, because I'm not in that that career sphere. But I just remember even with issues dealing with education, even with issues dealing with political races, once we are organized and there's a whiff or someone finds out about it, it's like now we're scared and we're frantic and we don't want to make sure we associate here. But it's like now we're sliding information, or I'll tell you this tidbit, but I can't be seen with you guys. It's that fear. And so how do we overcome that? Like what do we do in that space?
Well, first and foremost, Black people have to remember slavery is dead. We don't, even though we wear our masters' names, we are no longer slaves. But a lot of people still have a slave mentality. Like, I have worked in corporations on temp assignments and watched how they will get a white person who has no experience and put them in a job and train them on a higher level than a black person or a Hispanic person or anybody brown who has more education than them, and will train them up. They have built a power space that is just beyond this level. Black people get in there, oh, I'm scared to, they gonna think that I'm showing favor. I say they show it every time they hire. When they tell you, oh, you hiring, why you hiring? You said, why you keep hiring white people? Like no one checks them.
Yeah.
Like they go unchecked, and like I've been in rooms where I'm like, where are the black people at? Like I even tell within our D9 thing, you need to get out your black box and you need to go to these nonprofits and volunteer on them. Like I was the VIP chair of a major organization's fundraiser. I brought in Neiman Marcus as their host, and even though they ended up going to late, I said knock yourself out because that's what we're supposed to do. But I realized white folks that were mad that I was able to go ahead and bring this organization. And when people found out that Neiman Marcus was the hosting those gift bags, which it wasn't no like we putting a Gucci purse in them.
Right.
It was the bag. We had to break the bag up because the VIP doubled.
Wow.
We're having Neiman Marcus do the bag. And I'm like, it was some small, it was nice, but they were small because it ain't like they can go give you, like I say, a name brand, something like that. But it just kicked it up a whole notch. We had 200, we ended up with 400 people, and that was a major gift. And I tell people, you have to realize that these organizations, this is what I do for a living, and I had to learn you have to charge people. Even in your organization, you gotta charge.
You gotta charge people. I was talking to myself, you gotta charge people.
Because people will not appreciate you like you need to be.
It's true.
And I have to tell them, I said, look, when you talk about media, just because you got an event, that doesn't make it a story, sir. Number one, media is caught on. You can't even put any prices in there half the time. The thing it's going to sell you is the story.
Absolutely.
Why are we doing this? And then I said, too, you got to give us 90 days lead time. You can't just pop up and do this.
It's a formula.
It's a formula to it. You have to know how to sell and pitch this story. I said, because just because we throwing them, and they get mad with, I'm like, so how many events? Do you know how many events? And then secondly, you need to carve out a small advertisement. With you being a nonprofit, if you got $1,000, it's a media outlet will match that by 3. We'll put 2,000 or 3,000 with it. Because long as I said, that's the other thing. We always come from a position of begging. We never come from a position of power.
Please speak on that. Yes.
We always come with our hand out. We never come with something. When it comes to media, you got to have something now. You just can't get everything free.
Right.
Like when people see Gasparilla, trust me, they put some money in there for them to get all of that publicity. And then the other people just say, well, since you paying for this, let's dump all of this on it. Let's throw a live broadcast in there. But you got to come with a budget.
You do. And
then secondly, I tell them, you're talking about sponsorship. We need to package it as a whole. You got 10 events. Why are you doing individual parts? Why are you doing individual? It doesn't make sense. And then the other thing is you need to be going to places where you all are purchasing at. And I think the other issue is black people own so many other organizations, they don't want to give up their contacts. Or some people work for organizations, they don't want you because they know how you act. They don't want our organization. And I'm like, aren't you a member of this thing? Then why you at a corporation, break a check. And then you got to explain to black folks, you on a board. Like, I don't understand this being on a board and you not either donating something financially or you're raising money. That is your role.
That's your role as being a board member,
Because I had to explain to some people, I was like, well, this one person wanted to get in an argument. I was like, you ain't even brought $1 to the table. And it's not just like, I be on white people boards and I have to explain, you have to put a minimum in there. You cannot sit on a board and not bring not just context but finances.
Absolutely.
You have to bring something to make that organization grow.
Right.
And people need to get out, especially us, need to get out of this begging mentality.
I agree. I totally agree.
If you're going to do something, Put it out there. Push it forward. You cannot sit here and just always be. We're gonna always be behind if we don't come with some kind of plan,
with a strategy. And so I think that's why it's so important that if you are in a business, and also like if you are in a nonprofit and you're pushing an event, or you know that there may be it may be a cause that you're trying to push or make the community aware of, and all of that comes with the media attention. It comes with PR as well. And so I know that in this sphere of broadcasting, quote unquote, because you and I both come from that world, you know, in terms of degrees in communication and broadcast journalism. And so we've gotten an opportunity to see that world. But just like podcasts now, because anybody who has a microphone, anybody who can go live, they have a podcast, and people listen to their voices, right? And so they are kind of deemed as our new aged broadcasters. Do you see a lot of that in your sphere of PR? Do you see people and you're like, oh my gosh, like they have no idea about a specific formula of what's supposed to happen?
I hate new podcast people. I hate new PR people. Because I even have a friend of mine, they think that, oh, PR mean I can get you into this part. No, there's a strategy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need a degree, but you would at least need to read a book on what it's about.
What it takes,
Like most people don't even know what public relations in its own entity by itself is we're the people who create a strategy on how you or your organization convey yourself to your client, your customer, or your market, or your neighborhood, or whoever you're trying to convey to. So before you can get out here talking about put this, you need a strategy.
Right.
And within that toolbox of PR, you have marketing. Like people think I'm marketing. You're not marketing your business.
Yeah.
Marketing has to do with sales funnel. It's just that people who went to marketing are mad because they don't do any, because marketing is boring. And so they came up like they are marketing. That's why you have these marketing CEOs, MCOs, and now you seeing they're decreasing in the communication, especially on the corporate side, as a communications department, because they now have realized these are buzzwords. You are publicizing or promoting your group or organization. You're not marketing it.
Right.
Marketing under that is sales, the materials, but you all need together because we create the content, which they now call them content creators, but you know, we came with the strategy on what you're saying. Then now you just added social media, but before then you had media buying. That's the paid for media. And that's why I tell people, like I've seen some newspaper and it was a black news, I said, that is unethical for you as a reporter to charge someone to come to their event. You're not supposed to do that. So that lets me know you're not a real reporter. And I was a part of an organization, I can't say the name, it was I can't say which chapter of Delta.
You can't say.
But they were like, yeah, he's saying we have to pay his gas and and his food. No, ma'am. That's unethical. And I was on the phone and I was lighting him up. I said, even if it was $50, you don't have the integrity or the ethical instances about yourself to even, I don't even know how you open your mouth and say that. Yeah. And I even wrote a letter to their editor. I was like, what kind of mess is you got going on here?
Because he was coming on behalf of the organization, right?
Oh, he was coming on behalf of that news outlet.
Right.
And I was like, what the world?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I said, you know, but they didn't know. And I said, and then these new podcasters, like, number one, they don't, and this is what I tell people. Yeah, you have the freedom to say what you want. Right. But it does not absolve you
from the responsibilities
of what comes out your mouth.
Right.
Like, you know, I was helping some people who were, you know, you get arrested. And it's all on the news. Most people don't know the news, if you are not convicted, they have to. If you call them and say, hey, because of you printed this on the news, and it pops up with my name, I have a hard time going finding a job, everything. Oh, they got to pay out the wazoo. Most people don't realize the St. Pete Times, which is now Tampa Bay Times. Now, even though when the reporter wrote it, it was a plastic surgeon. They did get raided by the FBI.
Yeah.
But because of that raid being printed, he had to go all the way to Europe to start his business over.
Wow.
And he came and sued them, and it was so sad. The guy had a heart attack in between the journalist and died before the trial was finished. but they lost millions on that because this man lost money. Because even though it was the truth, you still have a responsibility of following it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, these podcasts are out of pocket. They say anything about it, and I tell people, and it's like they don't have real content. Like, they feel if it's their opinion that they should stand on it. And then you got people who come into that hatred. Like, Black men and women are more at odds now.
I am so glad that you said that.
And I see these.
That's why I'm like, we need to hire like some PR, like just PR professionals to just have. That's why I can't have positive.
With our PR visit, I was
positive podcast.
I don't want to bring the girl's name up, but she was sitting up. I can't think of her name. But she had worked with Lil Wayne. But by the time she got with him, he was already a superstar. So she was going around charging other new artists the same these high amount of prices because they all felt, well, she did it for Wayne. I said, but y'all fail to realize when she got with Wayne, he was a worldwide superstar. She didn't catch Wayne when he was young. So what she would do for Wayne is not going to work for a new artist. The strategies aren't the same, and it's just because she was working with social media, so she felt like, I'm like, and I didn't know her, but people, they were kind of, she took my money and blah. But the thing is, because they didn't know what PR is, they didn't know that, okay, she didn't know what she was talking about. And it's a lot of PR people out there that think, oh, because I got you, so no, you're media placement. If you're getting them with influencers, if you're getting them in media, you are media relations. That's dealing with the free media. That's dealing with those articles and all of that stuff. That is a media relations person. That is not a public. That falls under media relations. Community relations, community engagement. That's another thing. How you're going out doing those things, and in the community, you're creating public forums. You're creating I guess appreciations for your customers. All those things that engage community. That then you have event planning, which can fall under there, which I also do, and that runs again. But I do everything but sweet 16s and weddings.
You do everything except for sweets. Tell me why. That's interesting.
Delirious.
Let me see what this is saying. You can keep talking. I'm sorry.
They're delirious, and I'm like, I already know, like, with a budget what's gonna work. And so I was telling, so I know me. I know how, I'm like, you're not gonna talk crazy to me. And especially in those suites, nobody I don't care who your parent is. If they don't check you, I will. I'm not dealing with your rowdy children at all.
I got you. I got you. So the event that you are gearing up to, that you have already been assisting with, you don't have to worry about the wedding or the Sweet 16, but we have a Bartow Community Day of Service, right? That's about to transpire this Saturday, June 15th. So we got to get into the nitty gritty of that. Tell us all about that event.
Well, Bartow's Day of Service, I wrote a placemaking grant to the Bartow CRA. They have a great new director by the name of Howard Smith. He's been in Clearwater and City of Tampa, and he's coming in there bringing things to help develop that whole downtown, that CRA district. And so he created the placemaking grant thing. So I pitched to them, I said, do people in this area know the services that are available? Do they know the businesses and the organizations? And it isn't just nonprofit. We have church services and all those different organizations. Because everybody has something they're giving away. Do you realize what's there? Do you know what employers are out there? Do you know what lendings at different places like that? But what is it that can help you to grow? And pretty much once I put the word out there, we got some of everybody all the way across from the Polk County. So it's now pretty much kind of open to anybody in Polk County. And we have like Healthy Star, Bartow CRA. Like, most people don't know, in those CRA districts, they give money if you rent or own a business. They give you money to do the facade on the outside or help with the build out. If you have a home in those districts, they give money for repair.
Listen, guys.
And then Polk County has their neighborhood development department. And like, say if they had, your house was so bad that Bartow had to demolish it, Polk County got a program that we rebuilding.
Yeah.
And they will be there, and they also have down payment assistance and all kinds of programs. And then we have Hands they used to be Keystone.
Yeah.
They're gonna be down up to $40,000 in down payment assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have NACA, Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. They're nationwide.
Yes.
And they are a character-based lender, so they don't check credit. They just check your spending habits.
Mm-hmm.
And they are no down payment for a home up to $536,000. If you do a duplex or a quadruplex, it's up to $1 million. You have to stay on one of the units.
Goodness.
And that's no down payment.
I didn't know about.
And it's not just for already existing.
Mm-hmm.
You can build from the ground up.
Gotcha.
So you buy some land and say, I want to put this quadruplex on
Right.
it, you can do that. Or, if you see a house and then it needs rehabbing, they'll give you the construction money to rehab the home as part of your loan.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that program because they get you ready for the house.
Right.
They teach you about saving and spending because remember, you no longer have a landlord, you are the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
So you now have to pay. And we have a few more employers there. We have Baycare, and they'll be there talking about all the programs that they have to help you out, just in case you're in this. We'll have Florida Blue there. They're doing screenings, and their health insurance is great. I pay $24 a month for
Listen,
insurance.
I love Florida Blue. Like I don't have it anymore with my current employer, but if I'm looking into going back to Florida Blue, so I get it.
Yeah, like my health
totally
insurance
understand.
is $24 a month. And if you got a kid that's 18 to about 30, if they're working part-time, they're free. They just pay the $34 something for dental insurance every month. You can't beat that.
You cannot.
Because I know some people looking at the insurance like, what in the world?
Yes.
And then, we're going to have Polk County Sheriff is there with their crime prevention, and they have a minority recruiter.
Okay.
We're going to have church services. Polk State is going to be there, and they're excellent. We have our supervisor of election is there because most people don't know if you go through the NACA is going to be there doing a seminar.
Awesome. Okay.
So you can go in there, learn the process, and get ready, and start uploading your. They'll give you your ID number, and then you can start uploading your documents as soon as you leave.
Awesome.
But one of the requirements they have is you must be a registered voter in your county.
You must be.
You must be. You can't.
Yes.
You can't even get passed until you're a registered
Mm-hmm.
voter because they're an activist organization. They're the ones who coined the predatory lending term.
And so this is just with NACA though.
That's just
right?
with NACA.
Okay.
And then,
So that does not mean that if you are not registered to vote, if you have your voting rights that have been stripped from you, that doesn't mean that you cannot come.
And then also, if you have your voting rights stripped from you, they have ways to help you because they know here in Florida it's tough to get those things back.
Right.
So you should not be denied being able to own a home. I know we're gonna have Tampa Bay Academy of Hope, and they deal a lot with teens and those who are trying to be re-entry out of jail, trying to get your life back together. They started in Tampa. They have an organization in Tampa, and they've gone all the way to Lakeland, and they're now going to be into Bartow and spreading through Polk County. Then you have LifeLink there. We have, we got 35 vendors there. We have a couple financial resource people there, other insurances there. And we have Human and Health Service in Polk County. We got a lot of people to come out. Like this is smaller than the first one because we also have another one in November.
Yes.
Because we did it like that because we don't know where you will fall at in a year. Stuff happens so quickly in a month. So we want people to come. Like even if it's not for you, take it for somebody else.
Yes.
And we have to learn to be like we have to understand that's why we're on this earth to help one another. So if it doesn't help you, it may help someone else. And then we tell the organizations, you guys need to partner together to build your capacity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I don't understand why they don't. Like, shoot, I would be looking for other people to partner with.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to go this alone and go after those grants. You don't know who's sitting on what money that can help you out.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you that I was very excited when I heard about this event because number one, a lot of people don't know the benefits of knowing what the CRA can do for you. A lot of people don't know how much grant money is funneled through, and I just heard that the new director of the CRA is amazing and very resourceful. He's not someone who does not know the job. He's been doing it for over 20 years, right? And so the the resources that are going to be brought to Bartow this Saturday, June 15th. Give me the time again.
From 10 to 2.
From 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. and it's at the Bartow Civic Center. And so we all know where that is. And she's saying it's inside. That is a major component of that because it's hot. And you guys don't need me to tell you that. You already know what the weather is like. It's sweltering. When you organize this event, when you put the PR plan together, when you were strategic about it, who's the person that should come to this event? What does that person look like?
It's anybody.
Anybody.
Because you don't know where a person is in their life. Or you just might decide, I want to change jobs. Mm-hmm. Or you can go and be like, oh, I got a friend, because I'm going to tell you how many people we put this out and they sent a rose of light, they need a home.
Yeah.
And I even had some people, oh, I need my kid to move.
Like he's got to go.
It's time for them
They've
to get
got to go. And they can still get insurance. Y'all got to go.
They're like, okay, I'm going to send them. And I'm laughing. And the lady was just like, oh, no, I'm for real. I said, yeah. I know. That's why I'm laughing. I said, even if they don't make this one, they can go on. They have them through the state. But we would love for you to be there so you can get out there and see what's available for you and what people have for you. Because a lot of people complain about, oh, government this, government that. Government is there to work for you. Yeah. Those are your taxpayer dollars. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm trying to, hopefully I can get code enforcement there because they are the most misunderstood people ever. Okay. Like, really, code enforcement is there to help you out. Mm-hmm. They are now, the Bartow code enforcement is partnering up with CRA to make sure people don't get their homes. It makes sense, right? Make sure they don't get their homes stolen. Because people believe, oh, I got all these fines, they trying to steal my house, which it's been happening for years. Mm-hmm. So that fear is very real. Mm-hmm. So they're now trying to go through and help people to understand, like, no, that's not what happened. Yeah. We have Tri-County is coming, Cornerstone is coming, and the good thing is other nonprofits are telling other nonprofits to come. To work together. To come and be there because, it's free because I hear, and then one girl had me laughing. She said, is this indoor? I was like, child, it's indoor. She said, honey, Polk County be Polk County. It matters
to us if it's inside or outside.
I was like, no, I said, I would not be out here in this sweltering heat. Mm-hmm. People don't want to come. And that's why I tell people when you plan events, look at the weather. Yeah. Look at the time. Yeah, just because you can be outside, don't do an outdoor event at 12 o'clock or in the midday. I'm like, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, you go out to kill your whole crowd and they will remember. They will remember that you put them out there in the sun or the rain.
So listen, I want to make sure that you guys are in the building. I'm not only going to do this podcast, broadcast and post it on Instagram. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to go on Facebook as well. I want to make sure you guys are in the building. And I'm from Bartow. So this was near and dear to me. So of course I jumped at the opportunity to be able to interview Miss Jackson, with her extensive expertise, just to look at the list of services and nonprofits and organizations that we have coming to Bartow. You do not want to miss this opportunity. Like she stated, it's for everybody. It's not for a specific demographic. It's not for a specific, level of income or anything like that. Come out and get the resources at the Bartow Civic Center, June 15th, this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there's free food while supplies last. So that means you got to get there first, all right? Because when we say free food, we already know that, right?
We have 2 food trucks. Topsy.
Food truck. Oh, Topsy's gonna be there. She was on my podcast as well.
Topsy's is gonna be there, and PJ's Barbecue.
Awesome.
So if you miss out on the free food, because we will be giving 110 meals, I think.
Awesome.
You can still purchase food.
Awesome. So we 2 food trucks.
Well, if you get there early, you get the free food, and I'm gonna tell you, it goes quickly.
It does.
The one in February. Yeah. Those people were out there. Some people, I guess they worked the night shift. They just came straight there at 8-something in the morning. And I was like, we're still kind of setting up. But
they're waiting.
Stay in the shade. Now stay in the shade. And wait on, we're still doing that. So And I was just like, you know, that right there, because they were trying to get in there to, and we had people as far as South Florida come today because they were coming for the NACA event, but then they end up staying around and looking all around Bartow and was like, oh, this is so calm. And I said, well, you know, we had that down. We had lip smacking.
Okay.
And we had Paco's Tacos, and you know, and so they got to go around and look and see where they were at. I said, yeah, you know, you're like right up street from downtown. You can see what's there and what's up. And so they got to look at the neighborhoods. They're like, it's quiet and calm. I say, yeah, there's good schools. And most people don't realize once you pull people in, sometimes they want to stay.
Absolutely.
And even if the resources aren't for them, bring them back to your church or to your employer. Like I tell those that were employers or you have worked for organizations, let this be a perk. Like, hey, you're working here. Go if you want to purchase a home, especially if you want to purchase, come and NACA, and then now we got down payment assistance people there. Yeah. And then I tell them, make sure you're a registered voter.
Very important.
Stop leaving all the hard work up to everybody. Not only just that, but with these issues and these orders. Why is it always a small amount of people that are doing the work?
And I'm going to tell you, between the two of our organizations, between Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, we do voter registration drives all the time. So if you want to know how to become a registered voter, reach out to one of us. Inbox me, chat with me in the comment section, because we got you. Like, we need for you to be registered, okay? And I'm saying that because you still have the November 15th event as well. So if you're
the 16th,
it's the 16th. Yeah. Okay, November 16th. Now, will they have the same resources, or are you going to do something different?
We'll add more resources to it. So some people say we're going to be at all of them. Okay, they're just like, we want to make sure we're getting out there to the community, because so many people don't realize what's there. You don't know your life can change within 30 days.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And some people couldn't come because they're at other events, which we understand. It's the summertime. We're all fighting. Yeah. Like, you know, one of our board members of the CRA, it's a farmer's market going on at the same time as mine. And she wished she could come, but her business is a part of that. And, you know, she's one of the other people, has excellent baked cookie jar, has excellent baked goods. And
everybody knows about cookie jar, especially from Bartow.
She's a deli, and they changed it up so you can get your food. So don't feel bad about I'm just going in there getting some sweets. Yeah, excellent person. Yeah, and I mean she can't be there because we're it's the same time, but she's right there supporting us. Like she took flyers and was taking them out to other businesses.
Gotcha, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Just like another board member, Anthony Gent, you know, he took flyers, took it all out to the west side. He said, because I heard most of the east side was at the last one. I said, but you fail to realize. Jerome Corbett, another board member, took us to St. James and me and
my home church. And growing up,
we were at the Family and Friends. Your pastor was fire. He the buzz.
Yes, and you know it. Yeah.
And they were so gracious. Like we're like, if you want us to come speak at your church, Howard and I come up there and we'll talk. I'll talk about the day of service. He'll talk about the CRA because the goal is getting the trust of the community back.
Absolutely.
And the only way you do that is going and talking with people. So, and that's why, you know, he's out there getting in the community, going to events and stuff like that. Because that's the only way you can restore that trust. Black people have been done wrong for so long that everybody, that side eye.
Apprehensive, like we're skeptical about what's going on.
And I don't get mad when people are like, they stole my, I said, I know that's in the past. Yeah. Give us a chance. Like, be mad at them. Like, learn how to direct your anger. Yeah. If the new people coming in and we don't do right, then you get mad with me. Right. But till that, stay mad with them. Yeah. Give us a chance.
Because we got you.
Give us a chance over here. And, you know, so I understand it, but that's why we did multiple of this, because we wanted to spread it out, give you time. Just get the word out. Bring your people. Let them come in. And it's a lot sometimes. But sometimes you need a lot to take notes and just sit back with your thoughts.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate that and the offering of this event so that it can grow 3 times a year. I just think it's amazing. I'm going to be there. So I need for all of my Jazzy crew to make sure that you are there. And I want to just end it on this note because my podcast is based off of the premise of the comeback. I feel that there is power in the comeback, and I always say that you can come back from anything with God, the right resources, but knowing how to use those resources effectively and your willingness to do the necessary work. And so if you are someone, you want a new home, you're in a situation where it's time for you to get a new